This is conversions for measurements of liquid. So, for example, millilitres, centilitres, and litres, and also measurements of weight. So, things like milligrams, grams, and kilograms. So, the first thing that we need to remember about conversions is if you're converting a measurement which is bigger than the one that you're changing into, so you're going from big to small, you always times by how many there is of one measurement to the other one. Whereas if you're going from a smaller measurement to a bigger measurement, I don't know why I've put that on the wrong way, let's change this. Then you are dividing. So you might think that, no, it's bigger, it's going smaller, that makes more sense to divide. But in actual fact, with conversions, it's the opposite way around. So you just need to remember that. And that'll become clearer when I explain it right now. So, for example, litres to millilitres. The biggest measurement out of these two is litres. That one is bigger. Whereas millimetres is the smaller one. So we're going from big to small. So big to small is times. So we need to times this number, 93.97, by how many millilitres there are in a litre. Now if we have a look at this diagram here, we've got millilitres, centilitres and litres. Millilitres, there are 10 in a centilitre, whereas there are 100 centilitres in a litre. If you're converting from big to small, you times in. If we were going this way, it would be divided by 100. And same with this one, it would be divided by 10. What we're actually converting from is litres to millilitres, so we're going from this one all the way to the millilitres, which is here. So if we look at that, we've got 2 zeros and a 0 there. So actually, to convert from that, we'll need to times by 1,000. So if we times this by 1,000, we'll get the answer. So 93.97 times by 1,000 equals 93,970. And the answer is in millimetres because that's what we're changing into. So there are 93,970 millilitres in a litre. Oh, I put millilitres, it's millilitres, isn't it? So you might get confused. Millilitres. Because it's liquid, it's not measurement. Okay, I mean length. So let's have a go at millilitres to litres. So it's basically the opposite, going from small to big, which means that we've got to divide. We've already said that there's 1,000 millilitres in a litre, so we'll divide by 1,000. This little comma here just means that it's 1,000, so when you actually put it in your calculator, you can ignore it. So you can just put 3,935 divided by 1,000, and we get 3.935. So 3.935. And the answer is going to be in litres, because that's what we're changing into. Okay, so that there is an example of changing between units of liquid. Now let's have a look at grams to milligrams. So grams are bigger than milligrams. So we have to times by how many milligrams, which is the smaller measurement, are in grams. So if we have a look over here, we've got 1,000 milligrams in a gram. So we've got to times that by 1,000. And if you think about it, milli is like millennium. There's 1,000 years in a millennium. So milli is kind of like the Roman, the Latin for 1,000. So if you ever see that, that's usually what it means. There are exceptions to that, but generally your millipede has 1,000 legs. Same kind of thing. And if we're going from milligrams, which is smaller, to grams, which is bigger, that one's going to be divided by 1,000. So let's put those into the calculator. So we've got 1.56 times by 1,000, which is 1,560, and we're in milligrams. Let's check that. What you can do, if you notice it here, is because there's 1,000, The decimal point is actually moving 3 decimal places, so it's like going 1, 2, 3, so putting a 0, and it's at the end of it. So that's why it's a 1560. Now, if you're not confident at moving the decimal place, I suggest that you just put it in the calculator and see what it shows you. But if you are confident at that, it's here to do the calculation, because you can just see what it is straight away. Filling in the grams to grams one, so we've got 86,940, again ignoring the comma, and we are dividing by 1,000, and we've got 86.94, and the answer is in grams because that's what we're changing into. And then finally, changing kilograms to grams. If we notice here, we've got 1,000 grams in a kilogram, and a kilogram is bigger than a gram. So big to small is a pattern here of all big to small and small to big. So we've got to times this one by how many grams are in a kilogram. So as we just said before, is 1,000. So all of these are 1,000. They're not always 1,000, but in this particular instance it is. Also, the word kilo stands for 1,000. So if you see that, that also means 1,000. If we put this into the calculator, we've got 78.62 times by 1,000, and we've got 78,620. And the answer is in grams, because that's what we're changing into. And again, you move the decimal place 3 to get that answer. And then 98,800 divided by 1,000 gets you 98.8, and the answer is in kilograms. Again, you can see you've moved the decimal place, so it's here at the moment, and we've done 1, 2, 3, and it ends up there into that comma. So that's how you convert between those different measurements.